Welcome to episode 7 of the Sustainable Conversations podcast. I'm Robert Timms, Director of Earth Capital. My guest today is Tiia Sammallahti, who's the founder and CEO of whatimpact. Tiia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cool, great to have you. So whatimpact run the National Social Value Marketplace. As I understand it, that's all about matching private sector businesses who supply products or services to the public sector with local charities and community organisations and so on to deliver impact in the form of social value. Could you tell us a bit about, what was the original spark behind whatimpact? What does it mean? What does social value mean in this context? And how has the vision of the business evolved since you started it, or potentially even before you started the business?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, the history is quite long, to be honest. Originally, I got this idea of a two-sided marketplace to connect better businesses with charities, social enterprises, community groups who might be needing money, product, service, volunteer donors, anything that the corporates could be supporting them with. I originally got the idea 2007, which was almost the time when Facebook was being invented and all these kind of. So it's a long time ago, and that came through my own a corporate work. Where I was founding also as a hobby this kind of fundraising charity to support other charities, and then eventually we realized with this organization that it was actually more important to also support charities with product, services, skills, rather than just fundraising money, that they needed actually a lot of other support, and we could deliver much more valuable stuff like renovating buildings, building playgrounds and all these kind of big projects, because we could ask as a corporate members with very good connections donations from different kind of private sector companies as a product or service donations rather than asking money. And then it kind of became apparent that there should be a platform where anybody could see on a map what are the charities around or community groups. They could list their product needs, and then the corporates could so and say that, okay, I have this one, and so forth. This initiative was kind of stemming from the corporate social responsibility and philanthropic aspect of things. But eventually then when I started this as a startup in the UK 2017, 2020 government policies changed, and UK government made social value delivery mandatory part of the public sector contracts, which meant that now every single tender has to have 10% scoring for social value. So which means that the private sector companies who are bidding for government tenders have to demonstrate social and environmental good as add-on to the contract. And this then kind of opened up the market for totally new kind of partnerships with charities and social enterprises, which kind of course, still part of the CSR or ESG as a whole. But when you're forming these partnerships, there are very different requirements. And our platform, whatimpact.com, which is a national social value marketplace, now caters this need and this matching capability and very good qualitative impact reporting, in a totally new way, and answering all the requirements in public sector tender. And to clarify what the difference is, if you think about from the CSR point of view or ESG, corporates have their annual targets. They are building programs according to their mission. They want to engage with their employees and stakeholders and such. So it's like an annual cycle where employees can choose volunteering opportunities they want to do, and kind of it stems from the talent acquisition, stakeholder engagement point of view and building the brand. When it comes to social value and public sector procurement, whether it's council, central government, NHS, police, fire and rescue, when they are bidding for tenders, they have their own requirements. And then the company has to kind of comply with them within the contract period in a specific geographical area, targeting certain outcomes that they have been set to. So it's not freedom of choice doing whatever they want to. It has to be very specific. Also, there are very tight bidding timeframes. So when the tenders come to the market, there might be 2 to 4 weeks to answer. And of course, they are first answering the whole service or product kind of offering. And then comes this 10% worth of additionality where they have to build a compelling social value plan. Some corporates bid for hundreds of tenders a year. That's not at all uncommon. So they are actually building hundreds of social value plans, very different for different contracts. knowing that they might win 30 or 50% of them, and they have to be very fast paced. And then they have to realize that what about if we win this tender, do we have actually capacity to deliver? Our platform helps in this, and that's why we have very unique approach and very different from normal like donation or volunteering sites.
So that's it. So it's not, yeah, there's a lot of talk recently about sort of bits of pushback on ESG, CSR,
Mhm.
DEI, whatever abbreviation you
Yeah.
want to include. But just to be clear, that the sort of the change in the UK law has been sort of a game changer, because it's no longer, it's not about a sort of voluntary corporations wishing to do good off the sort of their own initiative. This is driven by a regulatory framework, isn't it,
Yes.
around the delivery
Yes.
of social value. And
Yeah.
that, if I've understood it correctly, that is basically that's enabling the sort of the ultimate beneficiaries of this are I think they're VCSEs, voluntary community and social enterprise organisations. They're sort of on the ground. They might be in Wales, they might be in Scotland, they might be in England. They could be in sort of any local council area, or they could be working across the country. But they're sort of their volunteers or their people are doing stuff on the ground, whether it's litter picking or rewilding, or helping, the aged or whatever it might be. That's being ultimately that's what's being driven by this. That's the actual impact that's happening at the end of it. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So government has set a national procurement policy statement, which focuses on 5 key areas. There is a crime reduction and domestic violence reduction, environmental, work-related, health and well-being, reducing the burden from NHS, and this kind of equal opportunity, like poverty relief. And so then all these public sector organizations, they kind of try to define their own area deprivation. What is the biggest challenges in their, let's say, council area or NHS operational area? And then they choose that, okay, because these are the biggest areas of deprivation, we choose our social value questions to be, kind of targeted to, let's say, crime or equal opportunity and so forth. And then, comes, the VCSEs comes to play. So charities, social enterprises, community groups, they become important, because if you're like, let's say, national big company or international company, how would you help the beneficiaries in some corner ward in Bristol, or how do you know then, kind of what are the organizations that are doing the best work in Birmingham? And our platform helps that, because we have created the most data-rich VCSE profiles, and all of our matching mechanisms have been created so that it caters this public sector procurement-related social value. And then it means that even if you're an international company, national company, or whoever, you don't have to become an expert of locality. Our platform helps you to be expert automatically through the processes and data.
Okay, that's great. And I know the business has recently launched a volunteering hub, which sounds like quite a big milestone. Can you just talk about what that is? How does that fit into the existing national social value marketplace, and sort of how do you see it, I guess, changing the way that organizations sort of manage or measure or deploy volunteering?
Yeah, so we've been having this kind of a more simple volunteering management system, but we have now totally revamped it. So what it means that on our platform, the sequence of matching goes so that the corporate makes partnership offers to the market, and VCSCs apply to be their partners with their data-rich profiles and so forth. When the match happens and it's a partnership, then VCSCs report back to the company with the comprehensive impact reporting. Yeah. And this impact reporting is evidence then public sector procurement. But if you do a match and say that, okay, we make a deal that 30 people from our companies volunteering, with this charity, this particular charity, so they are meeting the contractual targets, then how do you then engage with employees that they find this compelling? Yeah. So we have created a very easy to use volunteering management site, or employees can see the opportunities are presented to them in very detail. They have materials about volunteering. They have all the instructions there, how they should volunteer. And they can then choose from these pre-signed agreement-based volunteering opportunities, which one they wish to participate. And they can easily see who to contact, how to organize, and then they record their hours in this kind of semi-automated way. So they don't have to fill in lengthy, kind of like a templates or something. It's pre-populated the data, and they can also give testimonials and attach photos, so the corporates can then use this material in their annual reports and so forth. But also the employees can then also give ideas. So they can fill in certain forms and they can give like ideas or prompts for these social value coordinators in their company, saying that, oh, we are 5 people for marketing. We would like to do something good together, maybe build a fundraising concept for charity or whatever it is. And then, these coordinators who are using our platform as an admin, they can post these as partnership offers. So the VCSs can apply, and then the partnership can happen, and then they get meaningful, volunteering opportunities that then cater both employees' preferences, but then can be harnessed for the public sector procurement criteria. So it's this kind of a kind of very well planned, like a systemic process to manage these things.
So that's great. So yeah, it has to work for both sides, doesn't it? There's no point coming up with an idea that's irrelevant to the charity involved, if that's not going to be sort of core to their mission. But I guess does it help them then find? So firstly, it might find a VCSE or a charity that is aligned with what they want to do, but it makes sure that there's an appropriate fit. They're not just sort of coming up with something that actually is a sort of meaningless token thing.
Yeah.
Like it's actually got the social value is then reporting on that and measurement of the impact.
Yes.
Sort of back through the system, as it were.
And on our platform, VCSEs are not applying to be partner if they don't think that it's a compelling offer from the market. And also we have to acknowledge the fact, which is not based on our research, but other research, that 50% of charities report taking volunteers they didn't want, because sometimes volunteers are being pushed to them and they want to take them because they don't want to upset the companies, or they think that, okay, if we take these volunteers, maybe they donate them something. And actually it's negative impact because the company employees need then hosting and coordination and stuff, and that's away from the beneficiary work. So in our system, we are respecting the VCSEs with this process as well, that they choose whether they feel that it's a compelling, and they can also negotiate through our chat channel and our system, maybe some kind of even compromise, saying that, okay, we could take these volunteers, but we need maybe some money for this coordination, and we could scale in this project to particular area if you were to support us in a financial manner as well. So it's just like it's respectful for both parties, I would say, and that's our aim. We want this to be, kind of very collaborative platform, which kind of like really saves time and money from coordination, and then generates more resources to the ground that are meaningful.
So I guess the one of the issues at the moment, there's a lot of talk about in terms of sort of certainly the charity sector. Certainly the last year or so, there's been a lot of upheaval, a lot of pressure, and so it's not just about every pound being well spent; it's also about every hour being, properly utilised. So that sounds great. One thing I know you've mentioned to me this week is you've got an event coming up, I think in March 2026. That's an all-day webinar, I think it is, or maybe it's not a webinar. How would you describe it, and what's on offer? It sounds interesting.
Yes, so whatimpact is also a think tank, and we have done massive amount of research over the years. We have built our kind of reports that embrace the collaboration between local authorities, VCSEs, and companies. We do a lot of all kind of guides and materials, and we've been a big advocate for improving and increasing the role of VCSEs in public sector procurement in general, so they would be getting more public sector contracts, but also different roles to become suppliers for government suppliers and becoming social value delivery partners for government suppliers. So we've been part of different task forces and so forth. And then it just kind of came to me that, okay, we now need to kind of build this kind of a nationwide training concept, so to speak, for VCSEs, that they have equal access to information. What is this social value in procurement? Because some of them don't actually even know. They haven't been informed. And what is it? What kind of opportunities it present? How would you need to go about it? What are government social value frameworks? Because they are confusing. Then we talk about kind of how to engage with corporates, how to make it meaningful, how important are digital skills, because they are. There's a lot of digital reporting and stuff to do in this social value kind of related remit. So VCSEs have to be digitally savvy, and also kind of how do you kind of build the social value into your fundraising and resource raising strategy, because this cannot just substitute everything else what you've been doing. We still have to kind of see what is the role of individual donors' legacies, what are crowdfunding, what is then other corporate giving, what about let's say local retailers, what they can donate to charities, what about the local SMEs, which are totally not relevant then to the government contracts. Then comes the government contractual social value requirements. What could you potentially, what kind of programs you could run for them? So we are trying to build this kind of more strategic view, because this current situation in the VCSE world is very tricky. They are running out of money. A lot of organizations are going busted. Grant funding is reduced, and so forth. So now organizations are like desperately looking for new resources, but then they might be, kind of dumping these old resources, and just focus on, this social value is a new thing, and we just focus on that. Public sector procurement related resources, cannot, solve all the problems, but they can create something totally new. And that's what this day is all about, that we are educating the VCSEs. We are bringing together like at least 1,000 VCSEs, hopefully more. We have cabinet office speaking, we have charity commission, new philanthropic capital. We have different councils talking, procurement professionals, social value professionals, digital skills specialists talking there. And we wish to kind of give this kind of insightful day that also have well-being and cultural aspect online. And this is totally pro bono. We don't take any money for sponsorships. We are not paying any speakers. Everybody has coming here for free, wanted to support the VCSE sector. And this is on the 11th of March. And there will be a huge marketing push by all of our partners that include People Plus, Social Value Portal, Amazon, Social Value Quality Mark. So we have a lot of partners who have already promised then to spread the message and get this message to thousands of VCSEs. And let's see, this is now online. It might be then next year something even bigger, but we are trying to do something with a little budget at the moment.
No, that sounds fantastic. Yes, do a lot with a little. That's the objective. And I guess that's a sort of final thought then, sort of looking ahead to the future. Obviously, one of the things that I guess the sort of general public at large, in general, sort of there's often a sort of degree of skepticism about people saying they're going to deliver impact. What does that really mean? And so the measurement of it, so not just the public at large, but obviously the public sector, but sort of every sort of stakeholder, there could be some skepticism about whether impact's really being delivered. So the measurement of the impact and the reporting on that impact and the sort of the credibility of it is sort of key to the platform, isn't it? So do you, I think particularly around sort of large, I guess, private sector organizations, private sector businesses, that's where people tend to be more skeptical. It's kind of, do they actually have a vested interest in impact washing and that kind of stuff? So are you sort of quite positive about just the platform itself sort of enables that by, as part of its DNA? Do you have any thoughts on the sort of the future of where sort of impact reporting, particularly for the private sector, is heading?
Yes, absolutely. So a good question. So first of all, our platform empowers VCSEs report back to their donors with the impact data they have. And we have developed a quantitative impact reporting tool together with National Council of Voluntary Organizations back in the days, and developed it further. And VCSEs, when they're reporting against the donation, they are reporting against the project that they were running, KPIs, how did this change beneficiaries' lives? What is the evidence of that? How did they measure that? They are tracking all these outcomes they have achieved and impact to certain government framework targets, and have case studies, testimonials, and photographs and videos. So it's a very comprehensive package. So this is audit ready, package they deliver to the donor. So in this case, the private sector company can be ensured that, that this is the real data, and also they cannot tamper it. So nobody
Okay,
can
good.
accuse them to, kind of, social washing or greenwashing because they cannot actually change the data. So this is now verification for then monetized values, which is sometimes mixed with qualitative impact reporting. We don't give monetized values, but we are, for instance, in official partnership with Social Value Portal, which runs the TOM system measures. So TOM system measures, which are being audited by live auditors, they are now accepting our impact report as a verification. This is the new feature. You cannot just take a calculator, like a social value calculator or ESG calculator, and start ticking boxes and as a company say, oh, we made 2 billion social value, and you don't have any evidence. These days are now gone, and there will be then a slashback if you don't have the evidence, and our impact reporting provides that.
Brilliant. And you're currently UK wide. I think
Yeah.
you've got ambitions to take it beyond the UK. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are UK wide, and we chose UK market because it's a big market and very advanced in social value. Social value movement is now everywhere. Whether it's Germany, Ireland, Australia, so forth. There are procurement legislations. Also, private sector has adapted this as well. So we are just starting a big partnership with Amazon, who is requiring social value from their suppliers. And this is now seen in other big private sector companies as well, that they want to see what their supply chain is actually doing. And all these conversations with various companies and partnerships we have created, this has created a lot of internationalization and globalization opportunities for us.
Okay, brilliant. Well, it sounds like an exciting future coming up, and I also wish you all the best for the March event,
Okay,
March
thank you.
2026. And thanks very much for joining Sustainable Conversations. I'll speak soon.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.